Hey, that's the opening riff from Chuck Berry's Johnny Be Good. Johnny Be Good was released in 1958. It was a huge hit for Chuck Berry, and it was semi-autobiographical. Originally he had in the lyrics of the song lived a colored boy named Johnny Be Good. He changed it to Country Boy because he wanted to make sure it got some airplay. That's the way things were. And also he lived on a Goode Avenue, was born and raised on Goode Avenue in St. Louis, Missouri. So there's several references that indicate it was autobiographical. You have to go back 26 years prior to that, and you'll listen to a song called Ain't That Just Like a Woman, and by Louis Jourdain. And his horn section in the intro to that song played almost the identical riff I just played on horns. So he kind of borrowed that a little bit. But after he got a hold of it, it became... most of his riffing became iconic for all up-and-coming guitarists in the 60s and 70s. The Beach Boys, the Beatles, all used these riffs over and over again and borrowed from him, and he borrowed. So that's the music business sometimes. Anyway, here, the long-awaited, I've been meaning to do this one for a while. Here's Johnny Be Good, Chuck Berry. Okay, well, let's start with that opening riff. Now, I've watched, and you maybe have done this as well, have watched Chuck Berry on a number of YouTube videos in the old days and in more current times playing this song, and he never plays it the same twice. But what I'm trying to show you here is the version of the opening that is taken from the original recording. So we'll break it down into chunks. And the other thing I'm going to do, the song is in B flat. That's where it starts. We're going to do it in A. The reason we're going to do that is when I show you how to play this sort of on your own, or even with a band, it's a lot easier to key to play it in, because when you get down to the chops, we're down in Louisiana, across New Orleans. That part becomes a lot easier in A than it does in. And I think you're gonna appreciate it when we get down to playing those parts. So it's not a huge difference. You just drop it down a little bit easier to sing to. We're going to learn it in A. So to start, first three notes. We're going to slide up with our middle finger up the 3rd string to the 6th fret, and then with our 1st and 3rd fingers we're going to play the 5th and 7th frets on the 2nd string respectively. So that's just the 1st finger laid across the first 2 strings, sliding from the 4th fret to the 5th. So what we have so far? Okay, the next step. And that's a little run down. So let's track that. A note, 5th fret on the E string. 8th fret of the 2nd string. 7th fret of the 2nd string. 5th fret of the 2nd string. 5th and then 6th frets of the 3rd string. That's using your 1st and 2nd fingers. So again. And then the 7th and 5th frets of the 4th string, using your 3rd and 1st fingers. So you don't really have to pick that 6th fret of the 3rd string. You can just hammer it up. So putting the first 2 parts together, and try to slow that down. That's the next part, and we're on the 7th fret of the 5th and 4th strings with our 2nd and 3rd fingers. And our right hand is just picking both those strings at the same time. Alright, this next little bit's a little bit tricky. We're going to start with the same 3 notes we started the whole riff with. We're sliding our 3rd finger down there to the 4th fret of the 3rd string, and then playing that little box. 4th fret, 2nd fret, 3rd string, 4th fret, 2nd fret, 4th string. So, putting all those pieces together, the next part is those little bends. Now bends are played like this. You're going to bar the 1st and 2nd strings at the 5th fret with your 1st finger, and then you're going to bend up with your 3rd finger, bend up the 7th fret of the 3rd string. And with this hand, you're going to pick the 3rd string, pick the 3rd string, and then the first 2 together. Here's the rhythm pattern. Oompa 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 oompa. So putting this all together as we're trying to build this in chunks. And the last part of the riff, we're going to begin with one quick bend. So 5th fret, 1st string, 8, 7, and 5 of the 2nd string. Seven, 5, 8, 7. So slowing it down and putting those 2 bits together. Next little bit is, and that's just 5th fret of the 2nd string, 7th fret of the 3rd string. We're going to, just as we did for the opening of the song, except this time we're barring the 2nd and 3rd strings on the 5th fret and then hammering on the 6th fret of the 3rd string. So, now adding that to what we just had, and the final little bit, I'm kind of picking through that, and again that's just those 2. I'm kind of muting the 3rd string. Same thing we just did. So a couple bends. So now, slowing it down and putting the entire opening riff of Johnny Be Good into one piece. took a while, and it's going to take some practice unless you're an advanced player to refine that and work on it and work on it and work on it. But hey, you want to play a little like Chuck, so it's going to take a little bit of work. We'll spend a lot less time on the rest of the song. Just talk to you a little bit about the chop that you're probably going to play while you sing to this. Classic blues rock riff here. We're going from open fifth string, A string, and we're going 2, 4, 5 on the fourth string with our first and third fingers. Deep down in Louisiana, close to New Orleans. Okay, and that switches. This is where the playing it in A is so much easier. We're just going to move up a string. Stood a log cabin made of earth and wood. Lived a country boy named Johnny Be Good. That's just the same thing moved up. So now we're playing open fourth string, and we're doing our fretting on the third string, second, fourth, and fifth frets. And then, in the typical 5/7 fashion here, 1, 3, 5, we're going. So we're starting A. Deep down in Louisiana, close to New Orleans, way back up in the woods among the evergreens, there stood a log cabin made of earth and wood. Lived a country boy named Johnny Be Good. Never ever learned to read or write so well, but he could play guitar just like a ringing a bell. Alright, the only other thing I'm going to show you is a little riffing that can go on during the chorus, kind of like this. Go, go! Go, Johnny, go, go! Go, Johnny, go, go! Go, Johnny, go, go! Go, Johnny, go, go! So notice when I'm switching from A to D there, I still play the same riff. The riff doesn't change. The chording, if you like, or the chop from A to D to E it does change, but the riffing doesn't. And all I'm doing there is what I did during the opening of the song, the opening riff. Near the start, and that's sliding up from the fourth fret on the first and second strings up to the fifth fret. Little bar. This time I'm making the bar with my pinky, which is, it's great to use the pinky here because it's so handy. It's right there. It's right there. Okay? I'll let you work out verses and choruses and things like that. I won't do a singing, playing version here. But you've got the most important part, which is the iconic introduction, and just how to chop through the verses and then put your little licks in the chorus. So you've really got it all. Hey, thanks guys. We'll see you next time on freeguitarmentor.com.